Good day, our viewers, and welcome to our second episode of ISS Unite. I remain your host, Mormon James, and today with me in the studio is our distinguished guest, OUSMAN JENG, the Financial Secretary of DTU ISS in the second executive. You're welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah. Before we kick off with the major questions I would have on my list, first I want to like you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about you.
Well, I guess I would say I am the most important position in the executive and the money guy,
Yeah,
and
okay.
the one everyone has to DM at the end of the month for stipend and stuff like that. So that makes me a mini celebrity basically. Yeah.
Mini celebrity,
Mini
yeah.
celebrity.
Stipend issues are very serious issues,
Yeah.
especially dealing with students, and when it gets to the point they become a bit impatient about it.
Yeah, that's
So becoming the financial secretary of the society, why did you make this decision? I know it was based on elections though, but why did you decide to stand for these elections?
Okay. When I came here, I spent, I think, 2 years, and then I noticed one of my former, he's now home, my former colleagues, Laura Bojang, who was the previous financial secretary, my country mate. We used to hang out a lot. We used to talk about the problems of the society. So he usually tells me, like, we are having a lot of issues in the society, finances, people are not paying, we need events, we don't have the money.
Mm-hmm.
So I always thought I could try and find a way to help, and the best way to help the system is by being in the system. So I decided to run for the position.
Nice lines. Best way to help the system is by being in the system.
Yeah.
That's very true. That's very true. So what are some of the most significant financial challenges you faced while managing the society's funds, and how did you overcome them? Like you said, you're the money guy. You're the one.
Yeah.
You're the go-to person when it comes to the money matters of the society, and then generally the international students community. So, what are some financial challenges, and how did you overcome them?
Okay. When I first came, language barrier was a problem to begin with, because a lot of students they will text you, ask you about stipends, when are they getting paid. Some do not actually have the good English communication, so it's an issue. But for me, the main issue is the financial records, because a lot of people, even though like we have transactions, a lot of people do not submit receipts on time, or bills on time, or also when making a budget, you need to coordinate with other members of the executive to make research. What are we buying? How many? Get the research, give you the bills, and in most cases it takes a lot of time sometimes.
And record keeping is very important.
Yeah, it is.
It helps you to keep track of things in the next 50, 20, 60 years to come. Yeah. You have records of the things you have done and you're accountable for them. It's actually part of accountability.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fortunately, because now we have a website, so it's easier now, because all the bills, I don't have to actually take the bills. You don't have to send it to me anymore. You just put it straight in the portal, then it's recorded automatically. So it makes it easier. That's
great improvement. Yeah. I think this has just been within 2 to 3 years of the existence of the society.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually good. Can you share some specific accomplishments you've accomplished during your tenure as a financial secretary that you're proud of? Okay.
I think during my tenure, basically our tenure was when we had the...
just so our listeners know, I'm also part of that council.
I think that's when we had our first event, like the international student orientation, the meet, we had those 2 events, and before we didn't have them. So the coordinating of the events, the budgeting of the events, and staying within budget. So we were able to accomplish that successfully, and the turnout was good. So that was a great achievement.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Of course, you should be proud of that. Being able to stay within budget and then satisfy the needs of the society and the students at the same time. It's difficult, but you were able to do that. It's something you should be proud of. in DTU and as part of the international student community, there are different cultures, there are different backgrounds. You mentioned that earlier, even language barriers, those are differences in spoken languages. So, like, how did you adapt your financial strategies to accommodate the diverse backgrounds and the financial needs of international students within the society?
Okay. Fortunately for me, it was not very tasking for me to do that, because I can say that the major role that I play the most is about stipend issue. That's the main one, because events you have perhaps 2 or 3 in the year, so stipend.
There's space between that.
Exactly.
More than the space between stipends.
Yeah, and I think money has a universal language. They just text you. It does not matter where they are from, what they speak. The moment they text you hi, you don't recognize the number, you know, okay, this is stipend, you know, it is enough money. So you just collect details and you send it to the authorities. So that is easy to
here I would like to say money doesn't have a universal language. Money is the universal language, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so when you give the money, you've answered for whatever requests they have been making. You've been talking about budgeting and resources for certain activities. So what methods did you use to create and allocate the budget effectively? And how did you ensure transparency in financial matters within the society? Why I keep saying within the society is our basic, our theme here is focus on the society and the international students community. That's what makes up the society. So when I'm asking the question, we'll try to focus it on the society for now before we go on in the university as a whole. So what methods did you use to allocate and ensure transparency?
Okay. For allocation of budgets, usually when we have an event, because we are basically a new society, so our funding is not very strong right now.
Yeah, that's true.
So every event we have is mostly funded by the university itself. So they give us a certain amount. We need an event to be organized. This is the amount we are supposed to go with. So it's easier to budget when you know exactly how much you are given to budget with. Okay, so then you have restrictions. You have restraints on how many things to buy, the quantities, the qualities, and all that. So that is not very difficult. And with the help of the other executive members, because they also help with research.
Yeah.
You know, like I text Lloyd sometimes. I need the price of samosas. You know how much it costs right now.
Yeah,
exactly. This kind of a drink. How much? Because you know you have the number of people that are coming. So it's easier. And for transparency. When it comes to the bills, I don't joke with that. Also with receipts, I do not joke with that. Immediately there is a funding that is made, I immediately ask for the receipts to be sent. And if there are also refunds to be made, I do not give refunds based on whether the person
statements.
Exactly. Whatever. Even if you spend the money, it has to come directly from the president. Sometimes, like someone will text me. This amount is spent for transport of new students or whatever. I have to tell them, you have to talk to the president, and he will tell me to give you the money. He has to confirm. And even after that is done, you have to send me the bills. You know, if it is Uber, the Uber receipt, everything, and I have to document it. Okay, and everything will be published in the website.
And so far, it has been effective.
Yeah, so far.
Okay, before we go on with the questions, first, I would like to ask you: are you actually an engineer or you're studying business? Because you speak like someone who is good with financial matters. Like, where did this experience come from?
It's actually funny because before this, I did not have any experience with finances.
Okay.
Which is actually very amazing, because I think I learned a lot about finances just by holding this position. Because every task that I'm supposed to do, I go to YouTube, I go to Google, I make research how to do it and everything. I'm actually more of a physicist than an engineer. You know? Yeah, but I learned a lot through research.
No, that's cool. That's cool, and of course it's more of an experience, and you can apply it in different fields. In every field, you need to know how to manage finances. Actually,
exactly.
Yeah. Earlier on, you talked about getting sponsorship from the university for the international students program. So, how did you approach fundraising for the society's event and activities, and any creative or successful strategies that you can share?
Okay, for fundraising, we have been trying to have MOUs with certain organizations within India. Certain organizations will approach us and like give us an event plan. We have an event we want you to attend, and if everything, like if we accept to the MOU, they are willing to fund one of our events, or they will also come in attendance to that event. So that is one way that we also get funding for event. I think recently there is an event, I think that was announced in the official group, where a certain amount was given for certain number of students.
The event is yet to even hold.
Exactly.
Okay, things like that. You and I know this question is for the student community to understand what's going on in the society.
Exactly.
So
the main funding is DTU itself, but we also try to entangle with associations outside.
Other auxiliary organizations.
Yeah, it helps.
All right. Now, definitely things may have started in a certain way and may not be going as planned. Are there any strategies or any plans you had to accomplish, goals you set at the beginning of your tenure as the financial secretary, that at the end of the day you were deviated from, or you end up not achieving, and you think it will be very important for the next administration to carry it out? So is there any of such plans you had that you started and you thought it would be important to be achieved and it wasn't a success? Was there any of such?
Yeah, there are a few actually. I think I can give two over the top of my head. The first is the fundraising, because I once discussed with the president about our fundraising capabilities, because sometimes you have an event but the school is not actually able to pay for it at the very instant. So we need to find ways to access funds from outside. So we talked about certain ways of doing fundraising, involving with other organizations, but unfortunately that could not happen this tenure due to restrictions, because DTU also has rules. You know, you cannot just work with any organization. You have to go through DTU if they accept. So that is one hindrance. The second is actually the graduation, the one that was supposed to happen. I was discussing with the president recently, is it going to hold? But then unfortunately, you know, the time constraint, and we don't also have the finances, because we spent almost everything we have on developing that website for, you know, record keeping and making the society more official and more
effective.
Exactly.
Wow, I think for the fundraising, it's a very important part. If there are resources there for the society, then other aspects of plans and strategies for the society would be more feasible, because if the fund is there, there will be 2 or 3 more projects that can be financed, and then it will be a success.
Exactly.
Majorly, you find out it is because of the absence of finances that certain projects are not being done in the society, or the ideas are there and then they are being postponed or put on pause for the meantime.
Exactly.
About collaboration and teamwork, financial management often requires collaboration with other society members of the executive and the auxiliary chamber of representatives. So how did you foster this teamwork and ensure everyone was aligned with your financial goals?
For the teamwork, I'm actually very pleased with what we have achieved within our tenure. The teamwork was good. Sometimes you have some hiccups, you know.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, we are all students. Sometimes you require certain urgency from students, but they're not available to do it for you, especially when we are in the midst of organizing an event. That's where my job is usually like the most constrained. Okay, so you have to contact everyone. I need this receipt, I need that bill, I need this, I need that, because I cannot just build a budget out of nowhere. You know, I have to know what is being bought, who is buying it, whether they require transport to go get that thing, is it being rented, from where. I need to know all those things. Sometimes to get information on time is a problem, but I will say that thanks to God, most of the executive worked amazingly well with that. So the teamwork was good, was amazing.
Yeah. All right, thank you so much. So what's the future financial outlook? like based on your experience, what advice would you give to the current and the future financial secretary regarding maintaining financial stability and growth for society? In case anyone watching may not know, there's already been elections and someone else has been voted in as financial secretary.
Yeah.
So I'm asking what advice you have for that person and the person after that. What's the future outlook?
Well, I think at the beginning of my tenure, record keeping was the biggest problem that I had. And I think now, thanks to God, that is settled. We have a website. So which means the person to come next to me will not have that kind of a problem. So that is good news. So
he may have.
Yeah,
if he doesn't find a solution to record keeping, your records would be there, but keeping his own records.
Yeah, but his job of record keeping is made easier if he knows how to do, because
the website.
Exactly,
right?
you just upload everything in the website. It organizes everything for you.
Okay.
I think one of the most important factors, the most important thing in finance secretary is honesty. You are dealing with people's finances, exactly, and it's a very tricky situation. Even a single rupee should not be missing in the account, on any account. So I'm very strict with people with that. Okay, even the president, sometimes I paid this for this kind of activity. I'm like, why? You know, what about the one you paid before? Is it not effective? Or
because you may spend the money on something and then it ends up being a failed project, and the person comes back for more.
Exactly.
And you're asking
as a finance secretary, you should not be afraid to kind of rattle some cages. It's your job, because it's money issues. Sometimes some people don't like to be questioned about finances, but it is required. Okay. So for example, you have certain people who can get fake receipts, fake bills. So that's why it is your job to actually regulate it before the transaction was made, to know how much is going to be made and request for bill of that exact amount. So that is very, very crucial. So the person to come next to me, the honesty is an important factor. You must be an honest person to handle finances, and you also have to be disagreeable. Yeah, you cannot just say yes to everything. Take out this amount of money.
Society.
Yes. Take out this. Yes. No, you can't. You can't do that. You have to be disagreeable. You cannot be the people pleaser in the group.
Wow.
Okay. So that is also very, very important. Okay. And I think as a finance secretary also, for me, I'm actually happy that I was able to do this task. It was very, very commanding, but I would have preferred, it would have been easier if I had a financial background. So whosoever is coming, I would urge the person to start learning about finances, balancing checks and all that stuff before coming to office if possible. That's going to help a lot.
You have just a few days to pick that up. So
exactly.
Anyways, there are just sources that are made available for anyone who wants to learn that to do so. In terms of personal growth, you've talked about yourself being able to learn how to manage finances better, but would revisit that question again so you illuminate us on that idea. So how has your experience as financial secretary influenced your personal and professional growth? Are there any skills or traits you developed during this role and that have proven valuable to you in terms of financial management in the society and in other sectors of your life?
Okay, I guess I'll start with experience. Just like I said earlier, almost everything I did as a financial secretary, I learned it while I was going with the flow. So before, like when I received my stipend, most of the money spent, you don't know where it's gone. But now I know how to make budgets on my own. Like I know how to regulate my own finances because of this position. It helps me allocate. Before I'm like, okay, I have like this amount, let's say 18,000. I have 18,000, so I'll try to save 5,000. But I'm not planning on how am I going to use the remaining amount. So before I know it, I'm starting to take care of the 5,000 that I've saved. But now I know how to allocate that. And for the skills, I think patience. Yeah, I have been taught how to be patient. Trust me, it is not easy. It's not easy handling issues with student stipend. And it's required because a lot of people leave their countries. they come here, they require the financial support. So you have to understand, you have to empathize with their situation when their stipends are not paid on time and stuff like that. So even though, you know, ICR usually pays in batches, you know. They paid the last year first, and then the third, and then the second, and then the first.
So my batch is always the last.
Yeah. So so sometimes they will pay me. I will receive my money, but then the others did not receive it, and some will like call me like 2 a.m. Some like 12. You know, it's not a nice experience, but you have to empathize. You know, the money is required. So the patience, I have grown through patience also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So basically, we've come to the end of the major questions. Now we just have a few fun questions. So you've been talking about making budgets based on allocated funds. You want to know how much is there before you make a plan. So given you had unlimited resources, what activity or what plan or what event will you want to be organized?
Okay. If I'm to plan any event at random, I think most of the students care less about decoration than they do about food. Yeah, I think that is universal. We love the food. It depends. If I'm also like organizing for, you know, a man of your stature, then I'm going to have to spend extra money on the food, like double of what I will spend if I was budgeting for myself.
Saying double.
No,
go on.
Because right now I think the size difference says everything. So yeah,
you cannot actually give food all the accolades for.
No, but really, if I'm budgeting for, let's say, 100 people of my size and I just spend 50,000, if it is you, I'm spending 100,000 or more than that.
All right, thanks.
You know? Yeah, for the food.
Thanks. Okay. And then, what is your most memorable financial related experience you've had?
It's a very, very sensitive topic. I think it is the refunding of, because usually we use our finances sometimes and then we require refunding. And I can remember when we did the students meet event, and the authorities were not planning on refunding all the amount, which was crazy because some students had to just let go of their finances. Yeah, that is something that actually, you know, is still in my head because you feel guilty. You know,
yeah,
it's your office, and then those people did not get.
And then next event, you don't know what to do.
Exactly. Some might refuse to support as much as they did the last time.
All right, thanks. And then the last one, as part of the society, you've met with a few people. Who's the one person you'd miss the most leaving the society right now?
Yeah. That is a trap question.
It needs an answer.
If I choose one person, the others are going to strangle me. Yeah, but I'm going to go with the president. He's living, but I can say that within my tenure, I think since I came here, Iola is the most. He's the person that I had the most contact with within this like 1 year. You know, we talk a lot because, like I said, I came to the office and I was learning as I was going, and he helped me a lot.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, every issue I have, I'll call, confirm. Any time of the night, he's there to help. So I would really miss him. Yeah,
I think that confirms why he's worthy to be president, right? Yeah. All right, just give him a shout out to the camera, and then we're done.
Yeah, yeah. So this has been fun, but you put me on the spot in the last question. So Iola, thank you very much, and thank you very much to the entire team. I'm looking forward to serve again in the future in any office, any position possible. This has been a nice experience.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for coming on the show. It's nice to have you.